Chapter 23 Christmas on the Closed Ward. The days leading up to Christmas at Grimmauld Place were a strange mix of celebration and tension. Sirius, thrilled to have company, threw himself into the festivities, with gusto decorating the gloomy house with garlands of holly and enchanted snow. On Christmas morning, Harry awoke to find a pile of presents at the foot of his bed. As he unwrapped them, surrounded by the Weasleys and Hermione, he felt a warmth that momentarily pushed away his worries. However, the peace was short-lived. During Christmas dinner, Percy's estrangement from the family cast a shadow over the proceedings. Mrs. Weasley burst into tears when Sirius mentioned Percy's name, and Mr. Weasley's face darkened with a mixture of anger and sadness. After dinner, Harry found himself alone with Sirius in the drawing room. His godfather was humming carols under his breath, his good mood seemingly unshakable. "Sirius," Harry began hesitantly, "can I ask you something?" Sirius turned to him, his smile fading slightly at Harry's serious tone. "Of course, Harry. What's on your mind?" "It's about my dad," Harry said, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. "And Snape. I saw a memory of Snape's, and my dad, he was bullying Snape." "Was he really like that?" Sirius's face fell. He was quiet for a long moment before responding. "Harry, you have to understand. James, your father, he was a good man, but he was also young once. And yes, he made mistakes." As Sirius explained about the complex history between the Marauders and Snape, Harry felt a mixture of emotion: pride in his father's eventual growth, disappointment in his youthful behavior, and a new understanding of Snape's animosity towards him. The conversation was interrupted by a commotion from downstairs. They rushed down to find Mr. Weasley had returned from St. Mungo's, fully recovered. As the house erupted in celebration, Harry felt a weight lift from his shoulders. Mr. Weasley was safe, his family was together, and for a moment, the future didn't seem quite so dark. Yet, as he watched the Weasleys embrace, a small part of him couldn't help but feel like an outsider. He thought of his own parents, of the life he might have had if Voldemort hadn't taken them from him. Sirius, noticing Harry's contemplative look, placed a hand on his shoulder. "They'd be proud of you, Harry," he said softly. "James and Lily. They'd be so proud of the person you've become." Harry nodded, unable to speak past the lump in his throat. As the night wore on, filled with laughter and warmth, Harry held on to that thought. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them with the strength of his parents' legacy and the love of the family he had found. Chapter 24 Occlumency. The return to Hogwarts after the Christmas holidays brought with it a new challenge for Harry. Dumbledore had arranged for him to take private lessons with Professor Snape, ostensibly to improve his potions skills, but in reality, to learn occlumency, the magical defense of the mind against external penetration. On the evening of his first lesson, Harry made his way to the dungeons with a sense of trepidation. The thought of Snape delving into his mind was far from appealing. "Sit down, Potter," Snape said coldly as Harry entered his office. "The headmaster has asked me to teach you occlumency. I can only hope you prove more adept at it than potions." Harry bit back a retort, reminding himself of the importance of these lessons. "Occlumency, Potter, is the magical defense of the mind against external penetration. The Dark Lord is highly skilled at legilimency, the ability to extract feelings and memories from another person's mind." "He can read minds?" Harry asked, alarmed. "The mind is not a book, to be opened at will." and examined at leisure, Snape said. Thoughts are not etched on the inside of skulls to be perused by any invader. The mind is a complex and many-layered thing. But yes, those who have mastered legilimency are able, under certain conditions, to delve into the minds of their victims and to interpret their findings correctly. Snape raised his wand. I'm going to attempt to break into your mind. You will attempt to resist. Prepare yourself, Legilimens. Suddenly, Harry's mind was flooded with memories, riding a broom for the first time. The Dementor on the train, Cedric Diggory lying dead on the ground. With a gasp, Harry found himself on his knees in Snape's office, his scar burning. That was a poor attempt, Snape said, his lip curling. You must focus. Empty your mind of all emotion. They tried again and again, each attempt, leaving Harry more exhausted and frustrated than the last. By the end of the lesson, his head was pounding, and he felt more vulnerable than ever. As he left Snape's office, Harry couldn't shake the feeling that these lessons were doing more harm than good. The connection between his mind and Voldemort's felt stronger than ever, and the thought of facing Snape again filled him with dread. Yet he knew he had to persevere. The safety of his friends, of the entire wizarding world, could depend on his ability to close his mind to Voldemort. With a heavy heart, Harry made his way back to Gryffindor Tower, his mind swirling with doubts and fears about what the future might hold. Chapter 25: The Beetle at Bay. As January progressed, the atmosphere at Hogwarts grew increasingly tense. Umbridge's educational decrees seemed to multiply daily, each one more restrictive than the last. The DA meetings became a lifeline for many students, a place where they could learn and grow away from Umbridge's watchful eye. One evening, as Harry, Ron, and Hermione were leaving the room of requirement, after a particularly successful DA session, they nearly collided with Draco Malfoy lurking in the corridor. Well, well, Malfoy drawled, his pale eyes gleaming with malice. What have we here? Potter and his fan club out for a late-night stroll? Before Harry could respond, Hermione stepped forward. We're prefects, Malfoy. We have every right to be out after hours. Malfoy's smirk widened. Of course, Granger. I'm sure Professor Umbridge would be very interested in your prefect duties. As Malfoy sauntered away, the trio exchanged worried glances. He suspects something, Harry muttered. We need to be more careful. The next morning brought an unexpected distraction. At breakfast, Hermione received her copy of the Daily Prophet and let out a gasp of surprise. Harry, she exclaimed, spreading the paper on the table. You need to see this. The front page bore a large photograph of 10 wizard criminals. The headline read, MASSBREAKOUT FROMAZKABIN NINISTRYFEARS BLACKISRALLYING POINT FOROLDDATHEATERS. Black? Harry said, confused. They think Sirius is behind this? Hermione shook her head. It's a cover-up. They can't admit that Dumbledore was right, that Voldemort's back and recruiting his old followers. The news of the breakout spread through the school like wildfire. Students huddled in groups, whispering fearfully about the escaped Death Eaters. Even those who had doubted Harry's story about Voldemort's return were beginning to look worried. That evening, in the Gryffindor common room, Harry found himself surrounded by DA members, all looking to him for reassurance. What does this mean, Harry? Neville asked, his round face pale. Are they? Are they coming here? Harry took a deep breath, aware of all eyes on him. I don't know, he said honestly. But that's why we're training. So we'll be ready, no matter what happens. As the others nodded, determination replacing fear in their eyes, Harry felt a surge of pride. They were growing stronger, becoming a force to be reckoned with. But as he climbed into bed that night, Harry couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. The escaped Death Eaters, Malfoy's suspicions, Umbridge's increasing power, it all pointed to a storm on the horizon. And Harry knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that he would be at the center of it when it broke.